as well. That way I can welcome in TradingView and YouTube. Give me a second. Let me click that button. I don't know why the live stream is not working. There we go. Now it should be up. All these things to remember. Live room, live stream, kids, school, wife, bills due, taxes, all this stuff to remember. But welcome back. Welcome as always. As we've been doing this week, we've kind of been making it a viewer's choice. So typically what I'll do here for you guys that are watching on YouTube or TradingView is I'll pick out my top trading idea for today. We'll analyze it. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. And then I will boot you out the room. And then you can join me the next day. This week, we've been doing more of a viewer's choice. I don't have a lot of interest in the market. So I've been asking you guys to shoot in, hey, what pairs or, what cryptocurrency or whatever it is you guys want to take a look at. And then we've been analyzing it that way, kind of the same way we do during the rest of the live room period. And that's worked out pretty well. Something I want to start off with today is a little rant. Usually we save these for later, but it was on my mind and my memory is getting worse, so I don't want to forget it. But I was going through the YouTube comments yesterday under a few different videos, and many of you guys probably saw this on social media if you follow me. If you don't follow me on social media, at Akil Stokes RTM, watch out for the scammers. I haven't seen a lot lately, but I know they're out there. But I shared a comment under a video that said, or I guess the question said, Akil, how do I turn $200 into $2,000 in the next month? Now, I would love to hear your response. Believe it or not, I get this question multiple times a day. So I've gotten pretty clever at responding to it. My response was, buy a lottery ticket and pray, and then continue to buy lottery tickets for the remainder of the month and keep praying. And that is the best way you can turn $2,000 or $200 into $2,000 by the end of the month. And obviously we're having jokes here, a little sarcasm, but I got some comments after that. And believe it or not, right? Usually when you post something like this publicly, right? Because at least when I first started off, we're still this way, we're kind of balancing out here. Believe it or not, most of the internet, most of the public would probably think this is a realistic expectation. And you get the people that comment, oh, let me show you how to make $200 into $2,000 a month, or buy this system and it'll make, oh, last week, Mr. Marcus helped me make, right? You get all that dumb stuff. But there are actually some educated comments, which I guess is hats off to the community that we have out here in social media, the tribe that we build of good traders. And not to read through all of them, but a lot of them talked about either one, it is possible, but not probable, right? Would you guys agree with that? I don't like saying anything is impossible, right? It is definitely not impossible to make 200 to 2,000, right? You look at a few of the investment opportunities that are happening right now. There are plenty of people who have done that, right? The thing is, right, just because it's possible, is it consistent? And as Bobby says, is it sustainable? Because there's no point if it's not sustainable, right? I always look at the same situation as like a signal service, right? Where it's like, all right, if you find a signal service and the signal service is making money and you're just following everything this signal service does, and then this signal, and you quit your job because you're making money hand over fist, and then one day this signal service decides to stop doing it, what happens to you? Are you in a position where your wealth is sustainable? And the answer is no, because you're dependent on someone else. The same thing can happen in trading, right? We all have hot months. We all can get lucky on trades. But can we consistently produce it? Because if you're going to make any strides in your life, if you're going to quit your job or reduce hours at your job or do this or do that, you're going to need something that is consistent. You're going to need something that is sustainable. And it reminded me, I had this quote scheduled. I do quote of the days every, Tuesday and Thursday. And I had a quote scheduled today, and it came out. It said, on the quote was, any news provides the perfect excuse to manipulate the market. Nothing is exempt. And that's a whole other discussion about the war right now and the people that are making money behind it. But the quote that I put with it, or a comment I put with it, caption, I guess, I said early on in my career, I hit on the right side of the NFP, right? The non-farm payrolls. It's coming out this Friday, by the way. Then I had the bright idea of reading some articles, only trading once a month, as I was confident in my ability to simply research the number and anticipate the result. This was one of my dumbest moments. So essentially what I was saying, guys, is that I got lucky early on in my career hitting on a non-farm payroll. I didn't even know it was a non-farm payroll, right? I was just in a random position in a random direction, and the market sprouted up, and I researched later that it was a non-farm payroll. That's how I learned what it was. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to trade once a month. I'm going to travel the world in my private yacht. I'm going to, I was watching the thing on Russian oligarchs earlier, so I got yachts on the mind. I was going to travel the world in my private yacht. I'm going to trade once a month for about like 30 minutes a day, right? Non-farms, smoke and whatever. And then go back to my luxurious lifestyle. And it's a perfect example of someone that can make a massive return on one day, get overconfident, and then never be able to replicate it. You don't want to buy Chelsea. Well, hey, you know what? It's available now. Maybe we've got the American on there, Captain America. You never know. I don't know if he'll be there for long, but maybe that's an interesting one, Orsi. Nice. Yeah, it is possible. It's not probable. But the thing is that went on with the comments, and we were, and I felt kind of bad because like I usually don't, I shared it real quickly yesterday. I didn't take the time like to black out the name. And I don't like embarrassing people, stuff like that, because it wasn't I don't think it was a dumb comment. Like he wasn't making fun of me or anything like that. But someone brought up a good point and said, the problem with this comment, the biggest problem with this comment, right, isn't the fact that the trader is asking it. What do you think the biggest problem is? What's the bigger problem than the fact that the trader's asking, hey, how do I turn 200 into 2,000? And again, I don't know if it's a serious question or you never know the trader's background. But yeah, the biggest problem is that this trader is not alone in thinking that this is realistic. Right? The mindset, the unreal expectation. And that's what we're being sold and lied to all over the place. Everywhere we go, we're being sold that this magic system will help me do this. Or that this is how many returns I had. I was prepping the YouTube live stream, and one of my videos popped up and some ad came up about some guy inviting me into his trading room, and he walked in the door and there were all these monitors and he told me how he made this much money. And I almost signed up because I was like, ooh, I want to make it too, right? It's the fact that we're being sold this. And it's not necessarily the trader's fault that he believes it. Because guess what, right? We know about the 4 stages of trading, right? Number 1 is unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you don't know. It's the baby stage where, right, a baby doesn't know not to touch the hot stove because she's never experienced touching the hot stove before. So you don't know what it does. Like, ooh, it's red. That's a cool color. Let me touch it. And then you burn your hand, right? So traders that are coming into this industry that are in that unconscious incompetent stage, they don't know what they don't know. So when they immediately get blasted with all these ads and all these people saying this, why would you not believe it? Now, again, some of us have, I guess the comeback for that is, well, if you're financially educated, right, you would never believe that, right? If you understand how money and investing and how wealth works, you wouldn't fall for a trick that says, hey, I can turn 200 to 2,000 in a month, like every month. But that goes to the even bigger problem. How many of us are financially educated? Not many. So we don't even know to identify the stuff that isn't real. And then we get suckered into it. We have false expectations, and these false expectations do one of 2 things. One, we fall victim to some type of scam that's out there. We fall victim to the fake Akil, right? Shaquille Stokes RTM that's promising to manage their account and make them all these riches, and they send them a check blindly to some address in Africa or India somewhere, right? And they lose money that way. Or, and this is the one that hurts me the most, or you see a trader with the skills, they are successful, they've got something that works, and they bail on it because they think it's a failing strategy because it doesn't produce the 1,000% return that the internet tells them they should produce. Those are the ones that hurt me. The ones where traders are doing the right thing and they just give up because they're not making, quote unquote, enough or what they should be making or as much as the next guy. So it's tough. It's tough. That's one of the reasons I got an education in the first place. And it's getting better now, but was to kind of change this tide because I was hit with the same thing. Now, again, fortunately enough, I had a good, I still thought I could make money quick in trading. Don't get me wrong. That's why I went from the stock market to Forex, because the promises were that I can make money a lot quicker. I had somewhat realistic expectations, like, only doubling my account a month, not quadrupling it, right? Simple goals like doubling it, right? But one of my goals was to kind of change the landscape and just like flush out reality, the realistic expectations. And I think we've done a good job of that, but you can see it's still out there. So it was an interesting subject. But again, my answer: how do you turn 200 into 2,000 by next month? Lottery ticket and church. Here we go. All right, that's my rant to start things. Now let's get into some chart work. Where would you guys like to start today? I'm going to get a sip of my water. Type it in. I know there's a little bit of delay on TradingView and YouTube, so I'll wait a bit. But we've been having some good analysis here in the live room. Yesterday, we had a handful of good setups, not good opportunities, if that makes sense. We had some really good analysis being done. They just, the final third, the execution part, just didn't work in our favor as far as like, the prediction was good, the locations were good, but the market just didn't really give us much for entries because of the kind of the disgusting choppiness that's been going on. But again, if you get used to the process of analyzing it the right way, it's only a matter of time before you find something good. So I'm gonna take a sip of water, type something in, and then we'll get started. All right, Tony Boy on YouTube says the euro dollar. I see someone typing on in our tier 1 chat. Hopefully it's a better option because I don't really want to look at the euro dollar. I don't think there's much to do on the euro dollar. Someone give me something else, please. Alejandro. Oh, I got pound dollar, euro dollar, pound dollar. Okay. All right, we'll do euro dollar, pound dollar. We'll do euro dollar, pound dollar. Alejandro says Euro New Zealand hit targets. Nice and it has the potential to continue lower. Now, were you did you plan out for secondary targets on that one, Alejandro? I think remember only one level, right? Oh, no. Okay. So this is what we do. We didn't have the chance to talk about this yesterday because Jason got caught in traffic. But we're going to do our coffee break episode on post-market analysis. So continue to watch that pair, continue to evaluate, see what it does, and see if you can come up with some ideas. I got gold over in TradingView. See if you can come up with some ideas on how or if and where, I guess, you would have looked for secondary targets if there was an opportunity. So just like the random notes, the normal kind of post-market analysis. All right, so we're gonna do euro dollar and pound dollar because those are the first two that came in. I'm a man of my word. I won't kind of pick and choose. We got some other stuff that came in too. Pound yen came in later. I got two from gold, but unfortunately, we're only going to do kind of usually one idea here. We'll do two today because I don't think they're going to take too long. But we'll take a look at those two. Then I'll get you guys out of here. No live room next week, by the way. But we'll be back the week after that. Real quick, I got a question. Two questions. What did you start doing years ago when nobody cared that led you? What did you start doing years ago when nobody cared that led you to where you are now? Working my ass off. That's what I did. Or she says, what about Q&A? Yep, no Q&A either. Yep, I will be gone all week. No Q&A, no live room, no Akil. You get some respite from me. Yep, working my behind off. That's what I did when everyone told me not to. Akil, may I seek your advice? Oh, sure. I can't determine if a trend has changed from bullish to bearish. Would you enlighten me later? Sure. Live room members, how do we know if a trend has gone from bullish to bearish? What does it start with? What do we need first and foremost? And there are some, if you're new to the channel, go to, I don't know what video it is, but it might be under a playlist called My Best Stuff or Special Events. But there should be a recording of a workshop that we did that teaches how we identify trend. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick because it's going to be much easier than telling you. But first of all, you need rules to identify a trend. And then once you have rules to identify a trend, once the outside return is violated, that's when you're in rotation. So that's when the previous trend has ended. But that's not going to mean much to you. So I'm going to forward you to a video. Give me a second. Go to my YouTube page and then go down to, look at that. Organization pays off. Go down to the bottom, right? Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Wink. Go down to the bottom. Special events and interviews. Try this one right here. How to consistently read a price chart. And this will teach you how to identify trends, continuations, violations. Boom. There we go. Perfect. That was another one of my goals, is where I no longer have to write responses to people. Like every time they have a question, I just forward them to a video or a podcast. when you've got thousands of videos out there, it makes it easy, right? All right. And someone on YouTube says you should watch Bridging the Gap on your channel as well. Yeah, you should. Thank you. You should. All right, so let's look at euro, dollar, and gold. Let me know if there's anything specific you wanted to take a look at on euro, dollar, because I don't think there's going to be much here. But we will analyze it, because just because there may not be anything for me doesn't mean there's nothing for you. So let's look at euro, dollar here, and let's look at let's go through our process. IPDE, identify, predict, decide, execute. And again, sorry on TradingView, we only look at really one trading idea for the day, so you're a little bit late. I apologize. We're doing two today because I expect them to be short, but usually just one. So I apologize for you guys that shot in your ideas late and they did not get selected. But let's go through our process. IPDE, identify, predict, decide, execute. Identify. What is price action recently doing? What is price action recently done? Where is price action currently trading at? This is the first step in our 4-step process. If you don't use this 4-step process, I highly recommend it. It makes life so much easier for you. Trust me, so much easier. So much easier when you're organized, right, guys? All right, so we are trading at previous structure, right? Have we violated our most recent structure lows, right? We created a new structure low down here. We retraced. We did not violate our previous outside return, so no end of trend, no rotation in trend. Have we confirmed a bearish trend here? We have not, right? To confirm a bearish trend, we would need a lower low, lower close. We did not get a lower low, lower close. So we are holding. We have pushed down. By the way, I forgot to mention this. Sorry, I got caught up in my ranty rant. Day 2 of Powell's testimony today. He did hint yesterday that we're probably not going to hike rates at the same rate as what was previously projected because of the economic circumstances. We got ISM coming out at 10 o'clock as well, and then unemployment claims at 8:30. But that doesn't really do anything too much. But just to kind of remind you guys on that. So we've tested our previous structure lows here, right? We are holding our lows here on the daily time frame. We've tried to probe beneath them, and so far we have still, although we're trading below our previous lows, we have not been able to create a lower low, lower close. So this is one of those interesting situations where you can look at this and you can say, well, Keel, we're clearly trading below our previous low watermark, but we do not have a break and close below, right? We're forming an inside bar right now. And this is why having rules is so important, because if you don't have rules, how do you look at this? Do you see this as a violation, a continuation lower because we're trading at a lower price point? Do you see it as still a hold of structure because we technically haven't broken and closed below it? Different people have different rules for this. I even believe that Jason Greystone has different rules than me for this. If I'm, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe as long as he has a lower close anywhere, it still counts for him. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure of that. But the point is, you have to have rules. That way you're consistent in identifying what's happening on the chart. So for me, this is still a hold of structure. Trading View says, can you put your YouTube address in here? Yeah, it should be at the bottom of the thing. So if you look at the, scroll down to the bottom of the thing, it has like my Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff in the signature section. I pay a lot of money to have that signature section there. It better say it. But you can check it out there, yeah, or just Google YouTube search Keel Stokes. But yeah, we're holding structure right here, currently forming an inside bar. So, Orsi, you're our inside bar, our resident inside bar expert. What does an inside bar tell us about price movement in the market? Consolidation, right? So we're consolidating at previous structural lows. Now, excuse me, something we want to do is get a lay of the land. We also want to ask ourselves, okay, where is the next major level of structure? And if we look at our chart looking left, the next major level of structure isn't down to about 110s. So if we can continue lower, if we do end up getting a lower low, lower close, we're probably likely to continue down to about the 110 level. So we're in this situation right now where the market is it's at a decision point, right? The problem is we keep pushing lower but not closing lower. So in order to get that violation, technically, we now need a break and close below this doji candle, this doji pin bar right here on the daily. Now, if you go down to the 4 hour, right, you may have a different story. Because on the 4 hour, you have a lower low, lower close already, which is going to put you in that confirmed bearish trend scenario. So how you read the market is going to depend on what is your higher time frame. What time frame are you using to identify the lay of the land to confirm the trend? And if you're someone that doesn't have a strict kind of process for what time frames you use for what, if you're all over the place, if sometimes you do this but other times you do that, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to get mixed signals. You're going to look on the daily, and the daily is going to tell you hold of structure. You're going to look on the 4 hour. The 4 hour is going to tell you bearish continuation. And then what do? Well, you do whatever your heart says. You do whatever your emotions say. You do whatever your confirmation bias tells you to do, right? You read in the newspaper or saw on the news that the dollar should be strong. So you automatically look for a bear position. Or you read in the news that, oh, well, Powell's going to say something negative today. We're not going to hike rates. The dollar should be weak. So you only look for positive news, right? You're not going to get far. Just like the conversation we had to start, you're not going to get far doing stuff like that. So you have to be consistent. It doesn't matter what time frame you use. I don't care. As long as you're consistent in doing it. So looking here on euro dollar, again, higher time frame, we still got to hold a structure. So I don't have any bearish bias here. We do have a pattern formation in front of you right here. It is going to be a falling wedge pattern. Typically, this is a sign of loss of momentum. You would expect a little bit of relief from this. But overall, not really in a place of interest. I would say one thing that would stand out from a lower time frame perspective, right? We looked at this on the range bar charts the other day. Do the same thing we did on Canada the other day. I'm going to take some of these off. If you're more of a day trader, intraday trader, so hourly and lower, here's what I would do for euro dollar. Bracket it. This is your top line of structure resistance. This is your bottom line of structure support. If price can violate this level of structure resistance to the upside, right, expect a continuation to these highs. Right? So that'll be that relief pattern from the falling wedge. If we can violate this level of structure support to the downside, look for a continuation down to 110s. There's probably a Fibonacci down there as well. 127, it looks like it. I smell it. I sense it. I know it's there. Baby. So those are two options from a lower time frame perspective. So bigger time frame, I think we're in a neutral territory. There's nothing we can do right now. The market is at a decision point. We need to wait until the market gives us that decision, then we can react off of that. Lower time frame, right? Hourly and down. So you day traders, again, bracket it. Identify your key levels of structure. 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. And then if price violates this, then we're likely to go to this. If price violates that, then we're likely to go to this. Bada boom, bada bing. You wait. You've done your predictions. You've got a prediction on how you can buy. You got a prediction on how you can sell. Now you just wait for the market to tell you which way it wants to go. Right? It's not your job to tell the market which way it wants to go. Is it? Is it your job to say, hey, market, you have to go up? No. The market is going to do whatever it wants whenever it wants. You position yourself by doing good analysis that you can take advantage of whichever way the market wants to go. You just sit back and wait. That's the fun part of trading. The market will tell you. So there's some analysis on euro dollar. There we go. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Some decent opportunities once you go down to the lower time frame. I said I would do one more. I promised you a double today, so we'll do pound dollar next. Real quick, looking through the comments. I think there's a pattern on gold. We'll watch your YouTube. Can I use the daily to see what the market structure of the market is and then use the 4-hour to enter? That way, when the 4-hour is in sync with the daily, it confirms my entry on the daily. Live room members, I'll let you answer that question. Can I use the daily to see what the market structure of the market is and then use the 4-hour to enter? So can I use the daily and then go down to the 4-hour for entry? Not a head and shoulders on the 60, but I see what you're talking about. Similar type of deal. So bigger picture, this is pound dollar, but yeah, similar type of deal. Not a head and shoulders. Live remember says yes, absolutely. I'd be comfortable saying that they advise it, right? We always talk about using a 2 or 3 time frame type of deal. It was funny in the book I was reading that I forgot the name. They talked about the three lane highway, where it's different depending on where you're at, but how you have your kind of your slow lane, your medium lane, and your fast lane for passing. But think about it like this with as far as time frames goes. It's kind of like drawing a picture, right? So if we're using let's say a multiple time frame analysis approach, right? You're doing a puzzle, right? Your higher time frame is the perimeter of the puzzle. I don't know how many of you guys do puzzles. I did a lot of puzzles during the pandemic. Oh man. Next time we have one of these things, I'm gonna invest in whoever the top puzzle maker is. We did so many puzzles. It came to I hit rock bottom, guys. I told you the story before. I hit rock bottom when I find myself doing like a 2,000 piece cat puzzle with my wife. And I was stuck because there were 3 orange cats that look exactly the same. And I just sat there and I said, what am I doing with my life? Why did I just become an old lady? No offense to the old ladies out there, but I'm doing a cat puzzle. I'm sitting here doing a cat puzzle, and I've been doing it for 3 days. And that's when I hit rock bottom in the pandemic. That was my COVID low, guys. It was that. It wasn't catching COVID. It wasn't not being able to visit family. It was sitting and doing a freaking cat puzzle for like a week. That was rock bottom. But anyway, with said cat puzzle, I always start with the perimeter, right? Find the corner pieces. It gives you it was weak. It was a bad time, Chris. There was like 100 cats and they all looked the same and they were so small. Anyway, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to that point. I start with the perimeter. Perimeter is going to give you the bird's eye view of what the puzzle looks like, right? Separate the colors, right? Give you an idea of what pieces may fit with each other. That's your daily time frame. Your daily time, or your higher time frame, excuse me. The trader specifically said a daily, but your higher time frame gives you the lay of the land. You identify key levels of structure. You identify overall direction of trend, right? These are some of the most powerful things you need in trading. What is the current of the market? What is the underlying current? Bullish, bearish? What are the key levels that we're likely to go to? Are we at those key levels? Are we in the middle of those key levels, right? This allows you to set up your whole prediction and projection. Then once you have that prediction and projection, right? Then you put on your binoculars, where you slide it under your microscope and you zoom in. And then you have your trading time frame, your secondary time frame, which you're using the ideas gained from the bigger time frame and looking at it in a more detailed light. Let me know if that makes sense. So basically, you're building on what your bigger time frame says. Your bigger time frame says, hey, I should look bearish, and I should look bearish until 110s. Now you're going down to your trading time frame saying, okay, I know I'm looking bearish. I know I'm looking bearish to 110s. All right, where's that little pullback that I can use to get involved? And then if you want, you can even have a lower time frame where if you're looking for something specific for entry. So like if price action comes to structure, then go down to lower time frame and look for lower low, lower close, something like that. You can use a three piece as well if you want. But yeah, I'm a firm believer. You don't have to use multiple time frame analysis. There are plenty of strategies that work on a single time frame, daily chore, for example. You don't need multiple time frames. If you're a pattern trader, you don't need multiple time frames. But I believe if you're doing kind of a discretionary price action trading type of strategy, multiple time frames is key, because this is going to give you, Bobby just wrote in, this is going to give you your bias. If not, because if you just randomly look at different charts, you'll get different biases. And that's going to drive you crazy, because the daily chart will tell you bullish, then the 4 hour will tell you bearish, and the hourly will tell you bullish again, and you'll be all over the place and you'll be confused. Trust me, I've been there. Almost every other trader has been there. So yeah, I think you need to have that higher time frame bias to start. Now you can do 2 time frames, 3 time frames, 1.5. I don't know. But yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. So good question. COVID got me thinking about side hustles and making money. I'll tell you what, you're not the only one. We had a record-breaking number of traders get funded during 2020, right? So I've been teaching since 2012. I had more traders. I didn't have them. I've worked with more traders who got funded in 2020 and 21 than I did my entire career up to that. That, and I started counting. I didn't really count before. That's another thing. But the reason for that is that when everyone was working from home or they were furloughed or laid off, they had opportunity to actually take their trading seriously. I had a few people that was like, I got nothing better to do, so I finally just started actually focusing on my trading. Or I have time to actually take this challenge because I don't have to worry about going to my job. And you know what happened when they started focusing and doing things the right way? They started getting good, and then they got paid for it. So it was a really good time for opportunity. In a way, it was the perfect excuse to do the things that you never, quote unquote, never had time to do before. And that's including like family stuff. I ran into so many people. I'm fortunate enough where I have my own businesses. I work from home. I can kind of be around my kids all the time. I was out the park with like dads who are like, man, I've never been to the park with my son before, because they're grinding all day to pay the bills. So plenty of opportunities there. That was the blessing that was 2020, and it repaired our environment. If you guys look at some charts or some maps, it's cool to see how healthy the Earth became when we were like not massively polluting it. And then we went back, right? Of course, but like the air quality cleared up in so many places. Like look at China, look at like Los Angeles here in the U.S. It was amazing, and then we ruined it again because that's what the virus of human beings do. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. So Orsi spots it right away. Looks like a potential bull Gartley, right? Let's look at this thing, right? We have our first leg, which is going to be our X to A, our swing low to swing high. We have our A to B. In order to have a bull Gartley, what Fibonacci retracement do we need to come to? I'm going to take my Fibonacci retracement tool from my swing low to my swing high, my X to A. We need to come to my 618. Boom, we hit. So we know we're on Gartley alert. I have my B to C right here. And then if I take my Fibonacci extension out and I drag it from my A leg to my B leg and back up, that 127 Fibonacci extension right down here is going to start the zone of my Gartley completion. So the Gartley completion zone, this is an advanced pattern formation, a harmonic pattern, however you want to call it, is going to go from right here. Starts at that 127, ends at the X leg. Billy on TradingView is seeing the same thing as well. So nice potential pattern formation here. Kind of stinks that we consolidated right before. I always look at this as a negative thing. However, we did have a trader here at Tier 1 do some research on this and said that there was no correlation between consolidation previous to a pattern's completion point and the win rate of the pattern, which was interesting. I always assumed that when you consolidate right before, there was a much better likelihood of it being a losing pattern, but he proved that wrong. That's why we backtest, right? So yeah, potential advanced pattern formation here on the daily, here on the pound dollar. If we look at pure price action, right, we can see that price has been down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So what can we expect as we zoom into the lower time frames? What do we expect to see in this area? Directional movement? Nope. Consolidation. By the way, YouTubers, if you haven't done so, hit that like button. I'm going to forget to tell you later, but do it. I appreciate it. So we go down to the lower time frame here on the pound dollar. We have consolidation. So there's not a lot that interests me in here, right? We'll see the same thing on the hourly, but here's what I would tell you. If we look at the same thing we did on the previous pattern, this is kind of, structure is the backbone of my trading philosophy. Find your most recent level of key structure, right? Resistance here, support here. We know if we break support, we're going down to that pattern completion. So we don't need to worry about that too much right now. We know where that's at. If we can violate this previous level of structure, this resistance level up here, then the question is, where are we likely to continue to the upside? The next stopping place, right, is going to be right below 135s. So there may be an intraday trading opportunity from 134.40s to about 134.90s. Alejandro just wrote in daily trading opportunity from 134. Look at that. You're in my brain. Well done, sir. And then, of course, secondary levels being higher, right? So this would be your first point of danger, right? Secondary levels would be right up here. Why did I choose right up here? Can anyone guess? Again, structure leaves clues, right? Structure leaves clues. Learn how to read structure. You'll be very, very, very good at making predictions. Structure leaves clues, right? Take a look at when we bounced down, found support, bounced up, came down, found support again, and then finally retreated. So a buying opportunity from here to here, primary, here to here, secondary. Third area would be, of course, to the highs at 136. If you want to go down to an even lower time frame, could be what looks like a 26.18 opportunity. Let's see if this is actually true. Not a 26.18. Nah, I take that back. Not too much here on the 15 minute. Thought we'd have a 26.18, but we don't. But that's an opportunity on pound dollar. So two good opportunities for you. Look at that. I bad-mouthed them. I said I thought it would be boring. EU and pound dollar, just because I glanced at them earlier today on the higher time frames, didn't see much that I'm interested in. But you know what? We made a good day out of it. Bobby says, real quick, 1618 Fibonacci, or sorry, 618 Fibonacci retracement. Sorry, rushed it. Right at 135 even. Yep. Yep, that's a solid level. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining on the live stream again. Do me one big favor. Hit that like button on your way out. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that as well. There may or may not be a weekend trading edge video this week, depending on how much I procrastinate with packing. Who knows? But I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. If you get bored, there's plenty of stuff. Again, thousands of videos on the YouTube channel and podcast and all that fun stuff for you to watch. Live room members, we're going to carry on with our analysis. Someone wrote something in earlier here. Was it oil?